Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. It's June 8th, 2026. The weather is beautiful here in Midwestern Illinois. It's a little humid, but it's been a great day. Went for a nice walk with the dog. I've been working on a couple of science projects with the large language models for the afternoon. And in today's video, I'm going to change the format to something else. For the last several weeks, I have been doing market headline reports where I go through the market activity and then I dissect the news stories to try and tie together what's going on with the news headlines with the war and the oil crisis and the AI boom, and tie that in with what's happening with the market, right? Why is the market going up? Why is it going down? And what I have noticed is that the market seems to be more dependent on hype and news headlines than it is on actual facts and reality. If you were to look at the price of the stock market, you would think that things have never been better. And in reality, when you look at what's happening with society and the economy in general, the economy is not getting better. The prices are going up because of massive inflation, and the society is definitely not improving as a whole. There are more and more videos of people on social media talking about very real and very simple existential threats to their life, where they cannot afford a place to live, they can't afford their bills, they cannot afford food, they're being priced out of, just barely surviving. And this is where it's all going. And the theme of the videos from this point on is going to be, where is all this going? And I'm going to tell you where I think it's going. It's going nowhere. We are on the road to Nowheresville with our agenda. This whole AI hallucination that big tech is having is causing a tremendous amount of suffering and damage to society as a whole. These data centers that are going up all over the United States are having very severe negative impacts on the environment that they are being built on, and they are making people's lives in that environment much worse. The quality of life for these people that are living next to these data center buildouts is pretty atrocious. Their water is contaminated. There's consistent noise pollution. There are environmental factors such as the temperatures that are heating up. There's all kinds of problems that these things are causing. Now, AI is supposed to make life better. AI is supposed to improve things for us going forward. And what's actually happening is the exact opposite. It's making everything worse. Let's not forget about all the layoffs that are going to possibly come with AI advancements. AI has already replaced a good number of jobs in the admin space. If you were doing accounting or some basic coding or media graphics or web design, jobs like that are gone. And it's a matter of time before this stuff becomes sophisticated enough to perform higher level tasks, and then the people that are performing those higher level tasks, those are out as well. So what is the end result here? Well, where is this all going? Well, it looks like it's going in the direction of data centers everywhere that destroy the environment and put us all out of a job. So how is that making life better for us. That doesn't sound like it's making life better for us. That sounds like it's making life monumentally worse. There is already a huge inflation problem. We already cannot afford basic necessities as, the average little people as is. And the more the AI build out continues, the more money is going to be required, the more inflation is going to take place, the more the stock market is going to get pumped up. And in order for the stock market to continue pumping up, it requires more and more and more debt creation, because if you stop printing money for even a second, the whole thing collapses, because the credit expansion starts to not expand anymore. It starts to contract, and then you get all kinds of problems in the financial plumbing, right? If the credit and debt is expanding, everything is fine. As soon as that starts to contract, there's a major problem. So I guess the plan is to continue the inflation, continue building data centers, continue to pump up the stock market, continue to perpetuate the wars around the world, and life will just carry on as normal, and we will continue to pay more and more and more for everything. And as AI advances, we will have less and less and less opportunities to actually work. That is the definition of Nowheresville. This is going nowhere. And it's going nowhere faster than it's ever been going before. So the trajectory is now more severe, more steep than it has been in the past. So this is a logarithmic curve. So this is a normal curve. It goes up, this is the slope intercept is kind of constant, that this is kind of how it's going right now. It's exponential. We have exponential infinite growth on the horizon. The money supply is growing at an exponential rate. There are trillions more dollars in the world chasing the same amount of goods and services than there are before. And it just seems to keep increasing and increasing and increasing. I can tell you that my regular grocery bill over the last 2 or 3 years is at least double or triple what it was. The whole thing in general, life in general, the whole thing costs about 2 or 3 times as much. So AI is not going to solve this problem. Now, if we talk about the war is a completely different and also uniquely horrifying scenario, because we've also been told that there's a negotiation in progress, that peace talks are going well, that we're very close to a deal. And we've heard this pretty much every single day for the last several weeks. And the fighting has never stopped. I don't think that there has been an actual ceasefire. We were told that there was a ceasefire, but yet every single time I go to the news articles, I hear about more missiles and more drones and more bullets flying around as both sides continue to try and kill each other. So I don't understand how this is a ceasefire. Now, what makes this the most interesting and most dangerous situation ever? Well, we have an actual energy commodity tied in to this whole thing, and that energy commodity is crude oil. So if we go to, let's go to my doom and gloom clock here. The Strait of Hormuz has been closed for 100 days, 23 hours, 59 minutes, and 20 seconds. We're down about 1.4 billion barrels of crude in the world supply since the closure. This is catastrophic, to say the least. It's 3.1 times the size of the worst oil crisis in history. We've got about 19 days until the Cushing facility hits its operational minimum. We got about 62 days in commercials, and we've got about 150 days left in the SPR. We're going to get the oil inventory numbers where I'm going to update these figures. These are my progress bars on the drawdowns. These are actual physical commodities. Once these are gone, we cannot magically print more of them. So there's going to be a very, very serious problem very, very soon. This is actually a great way to describe it. So this is the reality of the situation. The reality of the situation is that we're in a war in two places in the world where oil refineries are blowing up almost on a daily basis, and there doesn't look like there's going to be any reduction or stopping of the fighting anytime soon. The ceasefire and negotiations and all that stuff, none of that is going to happen. We're going to be told that that's going to happen, but none of it is going to happen. Meanwhile, the United States is selling petroleum products out of its strategic reserves, and that's temporarily holding the price of crude at around $95, $100. Well, that cannot go on forever. It's going to be about 3 weeks until we start to hit very dangerous operational minimums in the reserves, and there's nothing to do after that. This is the point of no return. So instead of slowing down, and instead of putting the brakes on, and instead of actually looking over the dashboard and paying attention to what's going on, people are hypnotized by their stock portfolios on their phone, hurtling towards the brick wall at maximum speed. Case in point, you can see what happened here in NASDAQ on Friday. We hit the brick wall in NASDAQ. The market dropped about 1,400 points, and it did it rather quickly. And we have recovered today somewhat, but we're still really volatile. You can see this thing is fast and furious. This thing is not trading in a very reasonable or orderly fashion. We had a very orderly rally during the AI mania for 2 straight months. And now this thing is starting to act up a lot. So they better turn the money printer back on soon. If they don't fix the money printer, we're going to have a very serious problem in the market. And that actually wouldn't be a very serious problem because the inflation is so high that the prices definitely need to come down. But if big tech is going to continue to hallucinate, they're going to need to take some more drugs. So that means they're going to print up a bunch of funny money and throw it directly into AI. I think that there was an announcement over the weekend that the establishment is now kicking around the idea of directly investing in AI. So directly investing in technology is not enough. Now we're going to have to directly invest in AI as a matter of national security. So the same money that we print up for all the wars that we can't afford and all the other programs that we cannot afford, we're simply going to start printing more money for AI. So this is what's going to happen now. We're going to continue to push AI. We're going to allow big tech to hallucinate and dictate the terms of our survival in the future, where none of us have a job and everything costs so much that we can't afford it anyway, even if we did have a job. And if that doesn't work, they're just going to keep printing more cash to support the idea. So even if the idea doesn't make money, even if the idea destroys the environment, even if the idea destroys our lives, there seems to be unlimited cash available to fund this venture. Where is this all going? It's going nowhere. That's where it's going. So every day that we wake up and we turn this thing on and we look at these prices and we see what's actually happening, the world underneath all of that is falling apart pretty much. Crude is at 91.46. I would definitely expect it to be, much higher given the situation, but it hasn't hit yet. It's going to spike eventually, that this cannot persist. This phase of the market is just this phase of the market. It's just going to stay this way until there is a violent recognition that things are not good. And I can tell you for sure that things are not good. We are way past the point of no return. They are talking about food shortages now in the media more than ever. So first it was, AI mania, then it was gasoline and crude oil problems and the war and headlines, and now they're talking about food shortages everywhere. So this is definitely not going in the right direction. The war will persist, and the crude oil is going to continue to trickle out at best over the next several months. And this is just going to have disastrous consequences for the modern world going forward. I am sorry that I am the bearer of bad news here. I don't want to be Mr. Doom and Gloom, but I refuse to live a lie. I have to live in reality no matter how unpleasant it is. So here's me getting in touch with the very uncomfortable reality of what is about to happen here. So, as we hurtle towards the brick wall at breakneck speed, I'm trying to figure out where we went wrong. How did we all go wrong? What did I miss? I guess somehow maybe I voted for this silently by not having something else to vote for or not being more convicted in, what I was going to do in life. Or maybe I'm just like all of you and this has kind of snuck up on me as I was paying attention to other things. So as I was preoccupied with news headlines and prices on the screen and trying to make a living and this and that and everything in between, I kind of missed the whole fact that these data centers started popping up everywhere and that AI was actually going to destroy everything while we were being told that it's actually going to make all of our lives better. And now there's just an unlimited amount of cash to fund AI, just like there's an unlimited amount of cash to fund all of these wars and everything else. This is the new theme for the show. And this is also the new theme for what is really happening in the world. So I will have some more market insights as usual. I'm still going to do the doom and gloom energy clock to keep the status on crude oil, but I'm going to shift away from the market a little bit. I'm going to cover the market, but I'm also going to cover some of these other stories that are out there, and maybe I'll take the camera over to the grocery store as things progress so I can make my contribution to the rest of YouTube, because lots of people have already picked up their phones and their cameras and they have documented what it is that they are going through, or they have documented stores closing or empty shelves when emergencies hit. And that kind of content is getting more and more popular lately. That there are certain YouTube channels that just regurgitate everything and they just sell a bunch of fear and they get hundreds of thousands of clicks. And then there's other YouTube channels that take the same kind of information and then they analyze it and they put a spin on it and a perspective that is unique that you maybe wouldn't have thought of. And those are the types of people that I've been following a lot lately. I call them the macro strategists. So there are a good number of macro strategists on YouTube that are all saying the same thing, and they all have at least 15, 20 plus years in the business more than I do. Like I've got about 20, 25 years in the markets, but some of these strategists have 40, 50 years in the markets, and they know this stuff really well. And what they are saying is that this crude oil situation is totally out of control. This thing is going to blow up. You even have the big oil execs that came on Bloomberg a couple weeks ago, and they specifically said that we're going to hit tank bottoms. and the market just rallied and rallied and rallied the entire time. Like it didn't even matter. It didn't even care that we were going to run out of energy, even though AI build out infrastructure is going to require about 10 times more energy at least. So where are they going to get that from? There's the other, big dilemma with AI, right? If we're going to do all this stuff with AI, how are we going to power it? Uh, we can't even balance out the world's supply and demand of crude oil at the moment. The world is demanding still at the same rate about 105, 104 million barrels a day, and we're pumping out about 90. And now the war is supposedly going to get worse. Iran's going to close another strait and cut off even more oil. That's just going to bring about the tank bottom scenario even sooner. So this is in a couple of weeks. So the war starts, the AI mania grips the market. A few months go by, negotiation headlines and stories are floated out. Everybody hopes that things are going to get better. They continue to binge on debt and hype. And then all of a sudden, things start to change. And the reality starts to set in that we have a very, very serious problem. Nobody is going to care about their stock portfolio if there's no gasoline. I can assure you that you will not care about any of the digits on your screen if there is no gasoline at the gas station. That will do it for today's show. Thank you for joining me. I know the format is a little bit different, but we're going to have lots more of it tomorrow. I'll see you there. Bye.